I see questions about my wife or girlfriend has gained a ton of weight and I'm not attracted to her anymore. What should I do? But I'm wondering, for guys who have been in a relationship where their wife or girlfriend has become morbidly obese, they are no longer attracted to her, and it's become a fix it or I leave issue. Did making that ultimatum actually result in her losing weight, or did it just result in a fight and the end of the relationship anyway? Bonus question. If she did lose weight, was that enough for you to stay, or were things too far gone by that point? Story 1. I did that, but not with an ultimatum. I explained to her that her weight made me less attracted to her. She voiced opinions on things I should also improve on my end for her and our relationship. We're still together. We're getting married. It works out when people communicate. Both need to be open to communication, though. Story 2. In my 20s, I had a girlfriend who put on some weight, and I lost interest in her body. I couldn't tell her, but she noticed and told me she would put in some effort to lose weight. Even though I tried to be as respectful as I could, she was always very anxious and kept eating cakes. I eventually left her. I've always been pretty fit. In my 30s, things were in reverse. I had a girlfriend into fitness and I got too comfortable with my success, the job and all, and put on some weight myself, not into obesity, but I started to get chubby. She wasn't too pleased and told me to train with her more often. I knew it was a way for her to tell me I was getting fat. I got anxious and couldn't seriously commit to going to the gym. She eventually left. In my opinion, I got the same medicine, but it also made me realize how hard it is to tell your partner you love them but not what their body has become. I wouldn't go out with an obese person, but I would try to organize activities that make us move, try to change our eating habits, and so on. Like another person said, lead by example. Story 3, obligatory, I'm a woman. But I went through something similar with my fiancé. He didn't give me an ultimatum, but both of us gained quite a bit of weight when we went through graduate school and the COVID-19 pandemic at the same time. He sat me down and talked about how he didn't think we were being our healthiest selves, and how he thought that we should both lose weight so that we could be back to our healthy, attractive bodies that we had when we met. I was totally on board. I hated the way I looked, so we both worked hard. It's been 3 years since then, and he's lost 30 pounds and I've lost 25 pounds. He's at a happy weight now, and I'm almost to mine. I loved that it was something we were able to face together, and I really appreciated that he had the courage and fortitude to bring it up to me. We'll both look our best for our wedding in May. Story 4. I knew a guy who had been married for 15 years. They had a 12-year-old daughter. Dad told the wife, lose weight or no sex. The wife cheated on him instead with multiple guys. There was fighting and arguments and all sorts of trouble. I actually lived across the hall from them in the same apartment complex. I moved, and I don't know if it ever got better. I doubt it. Story 5. My husband was overweight for a long time. It bothered me, and I spent a lot of time talking to him and thinking about it in the wrong ways. I feel terrible that I did that, but I've learned more about obesity since then. Once our kids were born, I told him I was scared of the health issues his weight predisposed him to, and that it would mean I and our kids would get less time with him, especially less time with a good quality of life. He made a doctor's appointment that day and, as of now, is down 60 pounds and counting. It's been wonderful to see him feel so proud and confident. Story 6. Does anyone remember the post from years ago about the guy who wanted to open the relationship because his girlfriend was too fat and he wanted to have sex with more attractive women? What happened was that his girlfriend had a great time dating other men, and the original poster couldn't get laid to save his life. One of the guys his girlfriend dated even thanked the original poster for sharing his beautiful and awesome girlfriend. The original poster was astounded by the turn of events. Story 7. A bit of both, really. This happened to an ex-friend of mine, though. This ex-friend met a girl online, and they dated for about 3 years. She was already on the bigger side when they first met and were engaged last year. His stipulation was that she needed to lose all that weight before they got married. She did her absolute best to try and lose the weight, and I was amazed to see her progress, but apparently, the rate of her weight loss wasn't enough to please him. She eventually got fed up with being told by him that she wasn't doing enough to lose the weight quicker. Arguments ensued, which ended with her breaking off the engagement, and she left him. Story 8. I was not morbidly obese, but gained a ton of weight when I moved to New York City many years ago for a very hard job. My girlfriend made comments and eventually left me for other reasons too. I hired a trainer, got fit, and my life is amazing now. It was the best thing that happened to me. Story 9. I didn't give her an ultimatum. While the weight gain did bother me a lot, I love her for many more reasons than how she looked when we met. I told her it bothers me. She agreed that it bothers her as well, and she just didn't know how to start the weight loss journey. She is currently working on that after I helped her. There was no fight, there was no crying. She knows my views on larger body types, and I know she shares the same ones. Story 10. The reverse happened to me with an additional caveat. My girlfriend at the time said her mom told her to give me an ultimatum: either start losing weight or have a full-time job by the end of the month. I think her mom wanted to see I could take care of myself and thus show I could take care of her daughter. We had barely been dating for 6 months when this happened. At the time, I was working 2 part-time jobs in the industry I wanted to be in, and that totaled well over 40 hours per week of work, along with working 12 straight days with just 1 weekend off every 2 weeks. Hearing that really affected me greatly and ended up making me think I had ruined my life going forward by choosing the wrong career to focus on. I ended up going to therapy shortly after we broke up, which happened a day after she gave me the ultimatum because it was affecting me so badly. It also upset me that I had actual ambition to try and get into the field I wanted to work in while my ex was working at a grocery store bakery where, based on her complaining, she had no friends, which said more about her than them. Story 11. My mom gained some weight when she was pregnant with my sister. My dad threatened to leave her if she didn't lose it. She was 5 feet 6 inches and 140 pounds, which wasn't that heavy. Turns out that my dad hated women. For the record, I was the one who ended up battling an eating disorder for years. Story 12. My friend's boyfriend gave her this ultimatum, and she dumped him. She ended up losing a ton of weight, not through intentionally trying. I just think the negativity that he brought to her life was lifted. She started hiking and cycling again, which she had loved before they met. She honestly looks even better than before. He tried to get her back, and she was not having it. Not sure if that is remotely helpful, but that is the one time I have seen this happen. Story 13. As a woman, I appreciate this honesty. I am now 45 kilograms down but have the opposite effect. I think my husband preferred me bigger, but I feel healthier and happier in myself. I think he is insecure because he gained a ton of weight. Story 14. She cheated on me and left me. At least that's how my first marriage ended. Personally, I feel this is why we must marry primarily for love and companionship. There really is no guarantee that your partner will keep her current libido and remain attractive forever. Story 15. I didn't make a leaving ultimatum, but I was honest about how I felt. This conversation happened every few years. Sometimes she lost weight, sometimes she didn't. She's currently on medication, but it took years to get to this point. Things are looking up, but we have very good communication and a son. We're all in. You are not. You have not said, I do. I will leave you with this. Most people gain weight over time and never lose it. Occasionally, some do and maintain a healthy weight. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much someone loves you. They have to lose weight for themselves, and until or unless something in their mind makes them cross that threshold, they aren't going to do it. Be honest and straightforward. Don't scream or yell. She may cry, yell, break up with you, etc. But if she's going to be around, possibly for life, you have to get started with the communication now. Let the chips fall where they may. Life is short. Do you want to take a gamble with losing odds? Story 16. Ultimatum: do it or else seems like the last step on a very, very long path. That is, if you actually love the person, there is a lot that will need working through. Understanding why is going to be your key. Very often, there is a major mental health component like depression, anxiety, stress, or other long-term problems, and eating has taken a soothing role. Other times, it is a more complex emotional relationship with food. Most likely, it will involve both of you. For severe weight issues, it is likely going to involve working with doctors to look at both mental and physical issues, dietitians, and physical trainers in order to get better. If there were an easy fix, nobody would be overweight. Story 17. Not me, but a friend tried it with his wife. She gained 80 to 90 pounds because she spent most of her life on the sofa eating and drinking wine. Her laziness bothered him as much as her weight. It came to a head when she accused him of an affair because they hadn't had sex for months. He told her that actually, he wasn't attracted to her anymore, and he couldn't see a future with her if she didn't make changes. She didn't take it well. In fact, she had a meltdown and gained more weight from the stress. They're divorced now. Story 18. A quick scroll through your profile comments shows that you were also trying to push your partner into being a swinger. Forget your question. I hope she leaves before you even try an ultimatum. Story 19. My ex asked me to lose weight, even providing me with a target for his ideal weight and promising me a proposal. I worked really hard, met the target for his ideal weight, and left him. Story 20. My best friend's husband did this to her. She struggled to get rid of the weight as she had developed a thyroid problem, trying to balance work and raising kids, and he continued to pressure her that he would leave if she didn't lose weight. She continued to struggle to lose weight and couldn't, so she committed suicide, and he has to raise all 3 kids on his own now. Story 21. Attraction is so much more than how big or small you are. People gain weight for different reasons. The idea that you are not attractive anymore because you gained 10 pounds is sad. Story 22. This was my last relationship where she gained 100 pounds very rapidly. She even consulted me before doing it, as it was slightly intentional. She planned to gain 10 to 20 pounds just by eating more, which I told her was not the best approach and I wasn't supportive of. She ended up developing bad habits, stopped working out, and made excuses. I gave her the ultimatum for about a year and a half and finally called things off 6 months ago. It was the best decision I've made in a while, as her general attitude once she put the weight on was bringing me down since she was so negative about herself and her body once she put it all on. Story 23. I didn't deliver an ultimatum. I love my wife to death. We're at 32 years now. About 15 years ago, I sat down with her and asked her to speak to me because she was spiraling downhill with her health and had gained a lot of weight that I had let slide for about 5 years. I was tearing up before we even started talking. I basically just came out and told her that no matter how much I love her, I would never find obesity sexually arousing or attractive. She already knew that, but I wanted it spoken out loud because it needed to be. She lost the weight after that and has maintained it ever since. It revived our physical connection, and I can have my wife for more years than I might have had she continued neglecting herself. I can't, in all honesty, say whether or not I would have stayed had we not worked that out. I'm a firm believer that both husband and wife should always try to be the best versions of themselves for each other out of love and respect, obviously excluding medical issues, which I will, and currently do in other regards, stand by her for. Just my 2 cents, but that experience really opened my eyes about food addiction, which somehow gets a free pass while alcohol and drug addictions don't, in terms of being bad for you, nor should they. Story 24. I can absolutely understand losing attraction to a partner who has gained a significant amount of weight during a relationship. Sometimes it's because they get comfortable and lazy, but I think sometimes there is something else going on. The way this question is phrased and the ultimatum given makes it very much about themselves, instead of approaching it from a place of concern. You need to lose weight because I'm no longer attracted to you and I will leave you if you don't. Selfish, demanding, uncaring, all about you. I've noticed the weight you put on, and I'm concerned for your health. Let's start eating more healthily and moving our bodies more. Is there anything on your mind you want to talk about? I'm worried about you. Shows concern, helpful, focusing on health, all about your partner. Even if it's not as truthful as you may feel, approaching weight gain from a place of care and concern can do far more than from a place of selfishness and narcissism. Story 25. Well, I've got the reverse. My ex-wife lost a ton of weight, looked really good. And then she told me to my face, because we were both morbidly obese, that if I didn't lose weight she was going to leave me because she wasn't attracted to me. I told her how incredibly hurtful that was, and it was the beginning of realizing I was in a toxic relationship. Well, she gained it all back because she went off her diet when she went on a cruise and just went wild eating. And then I began losing all the weight. Because of all her toxicity and emotional abuse, I lost any and all attraction for her because of her toxicity and the way she treated me when I was the fat one, and she wasn't. I told her we needed to get a divorce. When she met me at the courthouse for our court date, she didn't even recognize me because I had lost so much. Story 26. Have been on the receiving end for this. Couldn't be happier that the relationship ended. I did actually lose over 30 kilograms, but still was not enough. Because it actually wasn't about the weight, but other issues he had. Weight was just an excuse. Story 27. My brother said that after years of frustration with his wife, who continued to neglect her health and was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, she still did not take care of herself. However, she has now been on Ozempic and has lost around 50 pounds in a relatively short time. Story 28. Does this ever get asked in Ask Women? Talk to them from a place of compassion. Ultimatums are television drama. Remember, you have much less control over how your body will look as time goes on. I would say couples grow together, but you sound like you are mostly worried about yourself. We are so aware of how we look at all times. Our partners are supposed to be a safe haven from judgment. If you love them, join an activity together, grocery shop together, cook together. Saying, you fix it or I'm out, never ends as people think it will. You may be right, but you may also be the antagonist. I went through this with my ex. I lost the weight. He did not like the attention I was getting, most of which I think was in his perception, and started saying I needed to do other things now to fix myself. He did nothing to improve himself in 8 years. I left. Good luck to you both.